Now, about 2 days ago, KILLY released his debut project titled Surrender Your Soul, and I wanted to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about the project and talk about his career in general. Now, let's talk about his project Surrender Your Soul. So I'm not gonna lie, it's been a while since I listened to an entire project and I actually liked every single track on it. I really can't even recall the last time this happened because I feel like a lot of the music that's coming out right now is kind of a hit or miss for me personally. And apart from artists that I listen to a lot and are my personal favorites like J. Cole, Kendrick, and Logic, KILLY is one of those artists that I've quickly started to gravitate towards because I hear something different coming out of his music that I just can't seem to put a finger on. So what I really liked about Surrender Your Soul is that it was extremely consistent with the direction the entire project was going in. The entire project kind of has a specific sound which leans more towards that atmospheric feel, where the instrumentals are kind of setting the tone for the project and building the entire foundation for KILLY to execute and kill it, no pun intended. But KILLY's vocals are really sounding more sharper than ever, and a great example of this is the track No Sad No Bad, where in the beginning of the track he comes in very calm and is kind of riding with the slow tempo of the instrumental and adapting very well, but as soon as the beat actually drops, his entire vocal tonality just becomes so much more aggressive, and it's kind of interesting how he switched it up so fast. Now on the same song he has a very straightforward and kind of hard verse on it, which definitely surprised me a little bit because I've always been used to hearing him flow very smoothly while mixing it with his style of rapping, while at the same time being very much melodic. But I think that him exploring his own vocals and trying different sounds is a great sign that he's definitely approaching this project from different angles, not only from the rapping part but just in general sound wise. Surrender Your Soul has an extremely dark theme to it, and whether or not KILLY consciously decided to take this route with the project is kind of hard to tell, considering his entire musical style has always been very dark to me. Although we do have tracks like No Romance from KILLY that's not dark at all and is more fun and lighthearted, generally speaking, if you add his entire catalog together of music that's actually out there, you'll realize that there's a consistent theme in his music, and darkness is a big and staple one. By the way, speaking of the track No Romance, I really want to salute KILLY for not including that track on his project, and you're probably wondering why I would even be happy that No Romance is not on Surrender Your Soul. I mean, it's a banger of course, just because No Romance is way different from anything you'll hear on this project. A song like No Romance being on a project like this would completely switch up the entire vibe of everything we're hearing, and the biggest reason as to why I'm so in love with this project is because it is so consistent with the sound it's carrying. What I'm trying to say here is that there's not a single moment on Surrender Your Soul where I thought, oh, this track right here should not be on the project. But I really expected KILLY to have No Romance on here just because it is one of his biggest songs, which means that if he did include it on the project, it would really help him with the streams, and we know how many artists are playing the streaming game nowadays. Artists are just pumping in tracks on their album for the sole purpose that they are big songs. Even if it ruins the quality and the experience of the album, it doesn't matter because they get more streams. And I'm just happy that we have a young artist like KILLY that's more focused on the artistic side of things and actually completing the concept of the project, even if it means not including one of his biggest songs on here and losing out on streams. So I actually hear a lot of Kanye 808's Heartbreak influence on Surrender Your Soul. There's moments like the track Doomsday that was very reminiscent of Heartless by Kanye. KILLY kinda incorporated the same type of sounds and manipulated his voice in a way where you could definitely hear the influence. And I know that he's a big fan of Kanye, so that's really not a big surprise at all. But another great track on here is Pray For Me. This is the type of song where KILLY goes all out and experiments a lot with different sounds, and the energy on this song right here is insane. KILLY keeps a very high energy throughout the duration of this particular song. But then here comes the intro that I still haven't talked about for some strange reason. The intro, Surrender Your Soul, is probably one of my favorites on here. And if you've been a fan of KILLY for a while, then you know that he's been teasing this song for like a million years, but it's finally here, so I'm happy about that. Now the song isn't actually on Apple Music or Spotify. I'm thinking he maybe had some issues clearing a sample or the instrumental of the track. Regardless, it's definitely some legal stuff. Just a heads up if you're wondering why it's not on any streaming platforms. But I'm gonna be honest, the intro Surrender Your Soul might be one of the hardest tracks on here. It's really the perfect intro for a project like this. The looping piano with KILLY's vocals, it all just blends in perfectly with the entire vibe of the track. But to break it down, this project right here is filled with a lot of dark energy. On most of the tracks, it's KILLY speaking on and reminiscing about past relationships with people that went sideways. KILLY celebrates the fact that his past is the past and the life that he's living right now is the blessing that he always was wishing for. All in all, this was a really great project and I really enjoyed it. I feel like KILLY is kind of setting himself apart from the rest of the new guys has coming out right now, because the quality of the music that he's dropping is just so high. There's a specific lane for artists like Killy because he isn't necessarily a lyrical rapper, so to speak, but despite that fact, the music that he's putting out is just so good to me that it's very much undeniable that Killy is in fact unstoppable. Now, you know a project is good when I make a review on it, because the last time I did an album review was probably 6 months ago when I reviewed 17 by XXXTentacion. I don't usually do them because there's not a whole lot of music that excites me enough to want to make a review, but I was really anticipating this Killy project and I really enjoyed it, so it was extremely easy for me to talk about. But what do you personally think about Surrender Your Soul by Killy, and what do you personally think about his music in general? Are you a fan of him, and are you a fan of the project? Definitely let me know in the comment section below and let's have a discussion about Killy. But as always, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. This channel is all about bringing together people like you who enjoy music and start a discussion on different topics like this. And of course, like the video if you enjoyed it, follow me on all my social media accounts. It's on the screen, and I'm out.